It's 1:17 in the morning. Your phone lights up with another message from someone who only seems to need you when they're falling apart. Your chest tightens before you've even opened it. You already know what it says. Another crisis. Another emergency. Another night where your exhaustion gets pushed aside so someone else's pain can take center stage. And what nobody tells you is that the thing you've always called your greatest gift, if this channel has helped you understand yourself even a little better, please hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps more people find this content who need it. There comes a moment in every empath's life that feels both devastating and liberating. A moment when the entire story changes, not because you stop caring, not because you become cold, but because you finally realize that feeling everything is not the same thing as being responsible for everything. And once that realization arrives, you can never fully return to who you were before. Imagine a house built without walls. At first, it sounds beautiful, open, welcoming, connected to everything around it. But eventually, every stranger walks through. Every piece of debris gets carried inside. That's what many empaths experience without realizing it. For years, you may have believed that absorbing everyone's emotions was proof of your kindness. You became the emotional first responder in every relationship, the person who carried the emotional labor, the one who listened, rescued, explained, forgave, and stayed. Here's what most people misunderstand. Compassion is the ability to witness suffering. Self-sacrifice is the belief that suffering must become yours. Those are not the same thing. Research on emotional contagion and mirror neurons suggests that humans naturally absorb emotional signals from those around them. But healthy empathy includes boundaries. Healthy empathy allows you to understand pain without drowning in it. That is not selfishness. That is self-preservation. One of the most painful discoveries comes after you start changing. Suddenly, people who loved your generosity become uncomfortable with your limits. At first, this feels like betrayal. But here's the twist. Some relationships were never built on mutual connection. They were built on access. Access to your attention. Access to your emotional energy. Access to your endless understanding. And when that access begins to disappear, the dynamic changes. This is where the real danger begins. Because manipulation rarely announces itself. Gaslighting rarely introduces itself by name. A narcissist rarely says, "I benefit from your inability to say no." Instead, it often arrives disguised as guilt, obligation, or responsibility. When you stop performing those roles, certain people become angry. Not because you changed, because their access changed. That is not rejection. That is information. Picture a smoke alarm. Its purpose is to detect danger. But imagine that alarm becoming so sensitive that steam from a shower triggers it. A candle triggers it. A warm meal triggers it. Eventually, the alarm becomes exhausted. So does the human nervous system. Many sensitive people spend years scanning rooms for tension, reading facial expressions, predicting emotional shifts, and anticipating conflict before it happens. And here is where it gets fascinating. What often feels like extraordinary intuition can sometimes be a nervous system shaped by chronic stress. Neuroscience has documented how prolonged emotional unpredictability can train the brain to become hypervigilant. The prefrontal cortex works overtime trying to interpret threats, while the body remains stuck in a state of alertness. The empath believes they are reading everyone, but often they are also protecting themselves. Understanding this distinction changes everything, because once you recognize it, healing becomes possible. For years, many empaths secretly wonder if they are too much, too emotional, too affected, too aware, too sensitive. But here's where it gets really interesting. The people who made you feel broken were often uncomfortable with what your sensitivity revealed. You noticed inconsistencies. You sensed unspoken tension. You recognized emotional dishonesty before others could see it. Sensitive people are often like seismographs placed deep beneath the earth. Long before an earthquake becomes visible, the instrument detects movement. Long before a relationship collapses, you often feel the shift. The tragedy is that many empaths learn to distrust those signals. They explain them away. They silence them. They convince themselves they're imagining things. And then reality eventually proves those instincts were accurate all along. That is not weakness. That is discernment. Here's a fun fact that genuinely blew my mind. Many people unconsciously confuse endurance with love. The longer they tolerate disrespect, the more loving they believe themselves to be. The more emotional pain they survive, the more valuable they feel. But healthy love does not require you to collapse. Healthy relationships do not require you to be drained, burned out, exhausted, or empty. And here is the truth nobody tells you. Your ability to stay through suffering is not the highest expression of your character. Your ability to recognize when suffering is no longer serving growth is. Sometimes the most loving thing an empath can do is walk away. Not because they stopped caring, because they finally started caring about themselves too. So here is the truth nobody tells you. The moment an empath realizes their gift was also their prison is the moment they stop confusing open wounds with open hearts. They understand that constantly absorbing pain does not make them more loving. It only makes them more injured. The strongest empath is not the one who carries everyone's darkness until they are shattered. The strongest empath is the one who stands in their own light without apology. The one who chooses clarity over chaos. The one who chooses peace over performance. The one who understands that boundaries are not walls built from fear. They are doors built from wisdom. And once that wisdom is forged, something remarkable happens. The people who depended on your exhaustion may be gone. The guilt may be gone. The endless rescuing may be permanently gone. But what remains is something far more powerful. A sovereign version of you that is finally whole. So here's what I want to leave you with today. If this message resonated with you, remember this. Your sensitivity was never a flaw waiting to be fixed. It was a gift waiting to be understood. You are not here to absorb every storm. You are here to learn which storms belong to you and which never did. And if you're willing, tell me in the comments, which sign hit the hardest for you? Have you ever experienced this realization for yourself? I read every single one. And if someone in your life is still carrying the weight of everyone else's emotions, share this video with them. Sometimes one message, heard at exactly the right moment, can change the way a person sees themselves forever.